Hey everyone, it's Tia Moore here with NextView Home Professionals. Welcome to this week of NextView Podcast, where I have my guest in studio, Ed Molina from the Molina Law Group. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind you guys that the show is sponsored by my team, the NextView Home Professional team. If you are in the market to purchase or sell real estate, then give us a phone call at 480-281-3078, or you can visit our website at www.nextviewre.com. So if you're watching, make sure that you send us a quick like, a thumbs up, a heart, or just say hello so that we know you're here. And then make sure that you take an opportunity and interact with us. If you have questions during the show, we will answer them. We'll try our best to answer them here live. And then we'll also make sure that we get back to you afterward if we, for some reason, can't answer it on the show. But definitely interact. We usually like to start our show with the rapid fire questions. So after we get to know Ed a little bit, we'll do the rapid fire questions. So make sure that you put your responses in too, because we want to see what your first instincts are on some of these.
Okay.
So Ed, thank you for joining me today.
Well, glad to be here.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, you're with the Molina Law Group.
Correct. We're a criminal defense DUI law firm in Phoenix. Do mostly felony work.
Okay.
And a little bit of misdemeanor DUIs as well.
Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. And so you have been in practice for how long?
Since 2012. So 7 years. That's crazy. So yeah, I've been practicing since then.
That is a long. It seems like a long time.
Yeah.
Goodness. Well, just so everybody knows, we are related, so that they know. So I've known you literally my whole life, our whole lives.
You never beat me in Mortal Kombat like you put on
I
there.
did, because
now Street Fighter, but you also cheated, but we won't go into that. But
we'll get to that a little bit later, guys, because I did beat him, but that's a whole different story. Okay, so let's start off our interview with the rapid fire questions, so everybody can have an opportunity to play along with us. Hey, Mallory. Hey, Fabby. So everybody can have an opportunity to play along with us. Plus, it's a good icebreaker to loosen us up and get everybody prepared for what it is. Not to mention, some people join in late, and so that way they'll get a chance to see the whole interview.
Okay.
Sound good? Okay, so I'll give you 2 answers, and then you just pick the first one that you think of out of the 2. So do you prefer sparkling water or still water?
Regular water, yeah.
Tap?
Tap water.
Really?
Bottled water.
Okay, there you go.
That's all I'm saying.
You not like Crystal, not like sparkling.
No.
Okay, Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi.
Yes. It tastes different over here, though,
Coke
than it does on the
not
East
good.
Coast.
I don't know why people drink Coke, but...
Trader Joe's or Whole Foods?
Whole Foods. I have to go Whole Foods on that one.
More options, right?
Way more options. And unhealthy options, too, so...
I know. They have cauliflower tacos.
Have not had those.
They're good. Even the cauliflower is crunchy. Anyway, I just discovered them. Okay, do you prefer to cook at home or go out to a restaurant?
Depends, really. Depends. I love to cook at home because I like to make good food. But when I'm tired, then I'd rather just go to a restaurant or order something.
All right, so just pretty normal then. But you cook a lot. When you cook, you cook.
Oh, yeah, it takes hours. So, yeah.
You don't cook like
No, I'm not making like Hamburger Helper or anything like that.
What's your favorite thing to cook?
Well, I like to barbecue a lot, so probably smoked brisket. So you got to, obviously get the meat ready. You got to get it rubbed. You got to let it sit in the fridge and just, marinate for like 12 hours. Get the smoker going. Yeah, it's a whole process.
I know. Okay, Five Guys or In-N-Out?
In-N-Out all day.
Really? That's surprising.
Five Guys fries, yeah, but
is it because they give you a lot or because they're slightly seasoned?
It's because a small fry can feed like 5 people, so yeah.
Okay. So it's cheaper then. It's nice that In-N-Out's fries are like fresh. Yeah, it's like homemade.
Overcooked though.
Sometimes. The wrong In-N-Out's overcooked. Okay, would you prefer a beach vacation or escape in the mountains?
Depends on what mood I'm in. If I'm tired of people, put me in the mountains. Put me in a cave somewhere.
You're like, don't find me. We're going to go over here and hang out. Football or basketball?
Football.
Okay. You played football in high school.
And
a little bit in college
too, at Mount Union.
Yep. At Mount Union. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Do you prefer to drive or just to ride?
Drive.
Really?
Yeah, people drive crazy. I don't like being a passenger, man.
Because you freak out with...
Why don't you... I always grab that thing because people just...
I have actually seen you.
Yeah.
Mom used to do that. When she would ride in the car with people, she would always
People just
us.
be whipping corners at like 60 without using brakes, man. No.
They do. And nobody stops at stop signs here either.
No.
Okay. Do you prefer, if you're going to watch a movie, do you prefer comedy or drama?
Probably drama.
Hey, Tracy. So Matt Chris, he works in my office. He said, finish him. Because he heard the Mortal Kombat
Tia didn't even know finishing moves.
Okay, so for you guys that may not have seen the post, I made a comment that I beat him in Mortal Kombat. I beat Ed in Mortal Kombat. And so he's saying I didn't. However, I'm pretty sure that we used to get into arguments because I would just trip you the whole time.
Correct.
I didn't even do anything.
But it wasn't Mortal Kombat.
It was Street Fighter 2 and
too.
Mortal Kombat.
You did that on both games? Yeah,
both.
That's not a real strategy. You don't even approach the other fighter. You just stay in the corner just doing the sweep.
But if I win,
yeah.
Look, if we were to...
That's so lame.
Listen, it doesn't matter what strategy you use as long as it's legal.
So you zap all the fun out of the game to make people not want to play it.
Oh, it's funny.
You won. I guess I got to give you that. You won.
You used to get so mad at me. Tracy said no dressing. I don't know what she means by that. Oh, the fine dining dress.
What she talking about?
Nothing. I'll tell you later. Oh, she's crazy. Okay, so anyway, I invited you on because you're an attorney, you're a legal expert, so I wanted to talk to you about some of the different laws that are on the horizon and some that affect a lot of people today. And so some of them will relate to criminal defense and some of them will just be more informative for everybody else. Because when I was preparing for my interview with you, I noticed a couple of things that I didn't know about, but I actually do realize that they did affect my pocketbook. So I figure it's worth bringing up. Yeah. It's a law show, so let's bring it up, right?
Gotcha. Now, I have to give the caveat, though. I'm a criminal defense attorney, so some stuff is outside of my wheelhouse. Yes. So I probably know just as much as you know some of this stuff.
Hey, but it's just more of information, getting it out there, right? Matt wants to know what your Street Fighter name was.
Street Fighter name. So he must be
like to play.
Oh, okay. Who I like to play? I think I usually went with Ryu. Which one was it? With the white.
You used it because you like Ryu.
Because Ken and Ryu was like pretty much the same guy, and nobody used Ryu, so I would use him.
And I used to use Chun-Li.
Yeah.
And just trip you the whole time. But what was the guy who had the sumo wrestler? What was his name?
Oh, E Honda.
E Honda.
Yeah, we use him
we
too.
Liked them too.
Yeah.
But you were here's the thing.
And
I have to give it to you.
Stretch Armstrong dude too.
Yeah. You were the king of finding all the cheat codes before anybody, and it was hard to find cheat codes back then because there was no internet.
Yeah, I don't remember how we used to. Just word of mouth, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, Fabi. I was not. Which one was Blanca? Fabi asked.
The green one with the electricity.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. See, yeah, I was Chun-Li or either E Honda.
It didn't matter who you was though. You did the same thing. Stand in the corner and keep sweeping.
Sometimes I would flip up and do the spin move with Chun-Li. I would trip you the whole time and then
if you mash enough buttons, something might happen, right?
Who was your Mortal Kombat character? Who did you?
Scorpion all day long.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that. Matt said that's who he'd be. He'd also be Ken or Ryu, I mean.
Yeah, it's like the same.
So one of the things that I don't think it's controversial. However, I think it's a topic that is, or a conversation that's being had around medical marijuana. And Arizona legalized the use of medical marijuana back in 2010.
I believe so.
I think so.
It's a while back.
Yeah, a few years back. And some people don't realize that while it is legal in the state, it's still not legal federal.
Well, it's legal if you have a card within the state too. It's not just that,
Oh, that's true.
Oh, I have cataracts, I can go get marijuana. You need to you have to be diagnosed by a doctor and get a card, and then you have to go buy your marijuana from the dispensary. So you still can't be, meeting your boy at the park. So you still have to do it that way.
Okay.
And two, it protects generally possession. So I think it's up to 14 ounces every 3 weeks or something like that you can possess. But if you smoke it and then you drive, then that's a different story, though. You can get charged with DUI and you're not protected. And that's even if you say you smoked the day before or something like that. because generally when you use marijuana medicinally, you're going to have it in your system for a long period of time. So you can go a few days without smoking, and if you get pulled over by an officer and for one reason or the other they want to do a DUI investigation and your blood gets taken, there's going to be THC in there. And just that alone is going to get you charged.
Okay.
So you do have defenses that other folks don't have without a medical marijuana card, but you will be forced to defend yourself in order to not, get convicted of a DUI.
Okay.
It's not that they'll say, oh, he has a DUI or a medical marijuana card, we're not charging him. No.
Okay.
You have to fight the case.
Okay. So, I mean, you can't be in other people's minds, but why do people, you can't drink and get behind the wheel. So why would one assume that you can smoke marijuana and then drive also?
Well, marijuana and alcohol is different because when you drink alcohol, it's going to run through your body in a matter of hours.
Yeah.
So if you drink alcohol at noon and you get behind the wheel of a car at 6 in the afternoon, unless you've been drinking all day long, it's very unlikely that you're going to be impaired.
Got it.
And alcohol is actually, it's been legal in the country for forever outside of prohibition.
Right.
So because of that, there's been studies done on alcohol, and there are studies that can tell you how much alcohol impairs you, how much is unlikely to impair you. Marijuana has been forbidden forever. And because of that, studies haven't been conducted, or as many studies have not been conducted to determine what is that level of marijuana in your blood that's impairing and what is not. So just seeing marijuana triggers a criminal case, whereas if you got pulled over and you had a .01 BAC, you're not going to get charged because people understand impairment in terms of alcohol because of those studies.
Okay.
And we don't have that understanding with marijuana.
Got it. So I was reading about a guy who he was prescribed waxes, which I don't know what that is, but it's some form of medical marijuana. I don't know. But anyway, he was prescribed it by the doctor to treat the symptoms of the side effects of chemotherapy. And apparently he was driving and he got pulled over. He ended up getting a DUI, and he's currently facing 2 years in prison. And so I was like, okay, so how do they determine that? Because, and I know it's just what you said, but I was thinking, so do you drive sick from chemo, or do you drive on, how do they, when you go to court, what happens?
To expect the law to make sense. Since I'm an attorney, I understand that it doesn't always make sense.
Okay.
You would think that when it's a situation where you have to choose between more harm, like cancer, chemotherapy, or less harm, take marijuana, be able to eat, be able to, be comfortable, that the law would respect stuff like that. But unfortunately, in our state, you can be in a situation where, say you're out at a party drinking and somebody pulls a gun out on you. If you get behind the wheel of a car and drive, it's a DUI and there's no defense, even if somebody's chasing you with the gun in their hand. So in Arizona...
Have you had a case where that actually happened?
I had a case similar to that where it was a domestic violence situation, and in order to get away from being abused, the client got in her vehicle. She went maybe 150 feet before she was pulled over and got charged with a felony DUI.
Wow. Because
she had a suspended license. And it was documented that her boyfriend was an abuser. But the case law in our state, and it's legal minutia really, DUI falls under Title 28 of our laws, which is the Transportation Code, the MVD and all that is in there. Most crimes falls under Title 13, which is the criminal code. All of the defenses to criminal acts is found in Title 13, which is the criminal code. So our courts determine that since those defenses are in Title 13, you cannot bring the duress defense or anything like that for a DUI that comes out of Title 28.
Got it. Dang.
Doesn't make sense, but...
So when she was facing a felony DUI, what's the prison sentence on that?
It depends on the person's felony history. So if you have no prior felonies in Arizona, a felony DUI still is a minimum of 4 months in prison, not in jail, not on work release or anything like that. It's 4 months in prison that you have to do, and then probation of up to 10 years if granted probation. if you were sent to prison for a first timer, which is rare, but if that happened, it could be anywhere up to 3 years, 9 months. So felony DUIs are serious in Arizona for suspended licenses, because that's a class 4 felony.
Okay.
But another instance where the law doesn't make sense, if you're driving in a car drunk with a child under the age of 15, that's also a felony DUI.
Okay.
But it's a class 6, which is a lower level DUI.
Interesting. Then if you're in the car by yourself.
Yes, with a suspended license. They rather you drive with a child in the car than a suspended license, I guess. And because of that, with the class 6, you don't have to do those 4 months and all that. And it actually can be turned a misdemeanor by the court. So it's crazy that our laws work that way, where you can drive with an infant in the car and get less punishment than someone driving just with a suspended license.
This is crazy. So our laws pretty much work in reverse. So we have, well, in some we're lucky.
Yeah.
So, for example, going back to the medical marijuana situation, it's legal if you have a prescription. And so, however, the laws have not caught up to address what happens and or the studies, I guess, haven't even caught up to what's considered impairment to where it's affecting you on the road and affecting your ability to function.
Correct.
Okay. So what are some other, because a lot of people, professionals and things like that, they can even lose their professional licensing if they get a DUI.
Correct. So if you get a DUI, you'll probably be in front of your professional board, most likely. And if you are applying to become, a realtor or a lawyer or something like that, you'll certainly get looked at and you'll have to answer what occurred. So, and if you want to be a truck driver or something like that, that essentially is going to disqualify you. So a DUI is very serious. And when your medication is the basis of your DUI, though, you just have to really be careful about driving. But again, I don't know how careful you can actually be, because if you have a debilitating condition that requires you to use this medicine every day, you're just going to have those levels. And whenever you drive, you're pretty much taking the risk.
Wow. That's tough. What are some other instances? I know you and I have spoken privately about some other instances where people are affected. We talked about immigration. A person's immigration status can be affected because...
So my concern would be with someone who's not from the United States or who's a permanent resident, is that obviously these are state laws, and the federal law still outlaws marijuana, period. And included in that is, in the immigration laws, there's a section about inadmissibility, who cannot be here. And if you were convicted of a crime dealing with marijuana over a certain amount, then you're inadmissible. So if you're essentially admitting that you carry marijuana all the time, that would be something that I would be concerned about.
Got it, because it's federal. Have you had cases where that did affect a person's ability to become a citizen or permanent resident?
I had, but it wasn't a medical marijuana holder. He just had marijuana convictions.
Okay.
So,
well, that's a big difference.
That was a DACA case. So there was DACA isn't even permanent residency.
Right.
So
Got it.
So even worse.
Wow. So did he end up being deported?
He was not, but he's always at the risk of that happening.
Got it. Ouch. Okay. So okay, so I was reading something. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to read without my glasses, and I'm getting old.
LASIK.
My eyes
get that
are.
LASIK, man. Changed my life.
But then you still have to wear reading glasses.
That's only if you really are old and can't.
Like your mom.
Yeah, it can't fix that, but it'll fix everything else.
Tracy too. I think Tracy still has to wear glasses. Before I get to what I was going to say, so we had 2 questions. Somebody asked, Tracy asked, is it legal for a passenger in your vehicle to have an open container of alcohol, asking for a friend?
No, it's not. It's a misdemeanor, open container violation.
Okay.
Is this a Tracy that we both know?
Yes.
To try to violate somebody's probation or something?
Probably. Probably. Okay, then Matt is asking, much less serious. He's asking, what is your favorite? I don't even know if you have one. What is your favorite attorney show on television?
I hate most attorney shows on television, but Better Call Saul. I love Better Call Saul.
Oh yeah, he's pretty good. Why do you like that one?
Because all the serious ones are just just full of errors when they try to do it. And Better Call Saul is silly, and they don't really do any real court stuff on Better Call Saul. So yeah, just
okay. That's on Amazon, right? Amazon Prime.
I think it's on AMC actually.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, you're right. I watch it on Amazon Prime.
Okay, because it used to be like he used to be on Breaking Bad.
Yep. Man, Amazon Prime has some good shows, like a good original series.
Yeah.
They're starting to be better because they're trying to.
I've been on Amazon since like 04.
I know you are like an Amazon king, but no, I really like all their shows on there. I didn't realize how they had some good ones. But I like them.
The Handmaid's Tale is really good too. I think that's Hulu though.
No, that's Hulu.
Yeah.
I don't have Hulu. I have a fundamental issue with Hulu that I refuse to get them.
Because they resell like CBS and all that stuff, or what?
No, because I mean that's like Cox does too. Technically, I just don't like them because they're like, oh my gosh, Tia, you can get a free 12 months for 99 cents or whatever their promotion is, and you try to sign up for it. And you're relaxing comfortably from your couch, and you try to sign on. They're like, "We need your credit card." I'm not getting off my couch to go and put in my credit card.
For Hulu.
Oh, you did?
So they sell the 12-month cards like at Target.
Yes.
I got a Target Red card, so I get like 5% off. So, boom, man, I'm winning, man, when it comes to Hulu, man.
But it's still Hulu. They should, if you're relaxing on your couch, the last thing I'm going to do is get up and go get a credit card to put it in. I'm going to just turn on Netflix. Just
buy the 12-month card from Target, put it in, boom. You don't have to do anything for a whole year.
You know, once I'm mad at a place, I just boycott them forever.
You probably still don't go to Circle K, right?
Rarely. Why did I start boycotting Circle K?
Some really rude dude from like 10 years ago. I don't remember what he said.
Was it the dude with the black fingernails?
I thought it had something to do with bubble gum. I don't remember.
I don't even remember, but once somebody makes me mad, I'm done. I'm not going to give you service if you're going to treat me good. Crystal said she's proud of both of us, your mom. Okay. So somebody asked, Fabi is asking, what is the punishment for first offense DUI? I've heard it's 30 days in jail, automatic in Arizona.
So misdemeanor DUI is a class 1 misdemeanor, and if it's just a .08 or below, then you're talking about, it could be up to 6 months, and a judge can give someone 6 months, and that has happened before. So the statutory minimum, though, is 10 days, and they can, if you do drug or alcohol classes and whatnot, then you can get 9 days suspended and just do 1 day in jail.
Got it. Okay.
But the fines and fees and the ignition interlock device and all that stuff is going to be financially crippling because you're talking about, thousands upon thousands of dollars afterwards. So if all you're worried about is the jail, you should think about more, because there's things on those cases that attorneys can do, especially if there's legal issues, to get you out of that DUI box, so that you can save more than you pay your attorney, which is obviously always the goal.
I was just about to say that. So in that circumstance, though, would you recommend, well, it sounds like you do, if somebody is facing, if somebody just gets a DUI, would you recommend that they hurry up and call an attorney first thing? Okay. Yes. Because even aside from the fees, the record that goes along with it
correct
can be penalizing to their future.
And you never know what you want to do, especially, kids are 22, 23 years old and they think it doesn't matter, but then, 6-7 years later they're in, med school or something like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, maybe I should have taken that more seriously. So you just don't want to have that sort of thing pop back up to bite you if you can do something to prevent it from doing that.
Okay. So they should call you.
They definitely should call me. Okay.
Tell them where should they contact you at?
So my office is right off of 16th Street in Glendale. Molina Law Group website, www.molinalawgroup.com. And you can call us 602-718-1249.
Okay. So I figure we might as well get that in there while people are watching, and just in case they had to go. So I don't know if you know anything about this, but when I was reading, I read that there was recently a law that passed legalizing extracts under the medical marijuana law. Do you know how that differs from what the law that was already in place?
I know there was a case that came down that just specifically said that it was not covered under the Arizona Medical Marijuana Act. So
it's not now.
Correct.
Okay.
So yeah,
well, then I'm wrong.
Yeah. Unless the legislature...
The article that I read was dated February 19th.
Of this year?
Of this year.
Okay. I'd have to see it then.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure because I don't know anything about it, and like I said, I'm just curious.
Like the oils and all that stuff have been excluded by the court. So.
Oh, and that's what I was gonna say. So going back to the DUI thing, what about people who use CBD oils?
So
can that
it's
be a
going to
DUI?
show up as THC in your blood.
That's what I thought.
They don't know exactly how you got the THC. If you smoked it, if you ate a gummy bear, they don't know any of that. But there's people, you should never talk to the police, honestly, when you get stopped on these.
Yeah.
Because anything you tell them, it will, like when it says it can and will, they can just say, take off the can part. It will be used against you. So you're best to just remain silent and let them try to speculate as to what it is. And if it's just blood evidence, it's just going to show THC.
Okay.
So
there you go.
Because they ask questions like, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being just a little bit drunk and 10 being falling down drunk, like, where are you? And people
do you
answer
see me
that.
falling down?
People are like, well, I'm at a 7 right now. Like, people, they do.
Because they're drunk.
Well, they're also
impaired.
unaware of their rights
Okay.
too. The fact that they cannot speak to officers, they can refuse. So.
Wow. So here's my question to that: if your rights have to be read to you before you're arrested, why wouldn't your rights have to be read to you before you incriminate yourself in general with a simple traffic stop?
Because everything in the law is more complicated than you would think it should be. It's if you're, it's whether or not you're in custody, and if it's still an ongoing investigation, like if they stopped you and they don't really know if you're impaired or not, and they're not necessarily arresting you and you're not under arrest, and you potentially can still leave, then the court will probably say that it wasn't, coerced, like it wasn't something that violated your right to remain silent.
Got it. Okay. Miguel Ruiz says, looking good, Ed.
Thank you, man.
Hi, Miguel. Crystal is asking, she said she's asking for someone else, how many felonies can you get expunged? And do you recommend doing it yourself or hiring an attorney? If so, why?
Well, in Arizona, you cannot get any felonies expunged. We'll start with that.
Okay.
You can get what's called a set-aside of your conviction. So what it would show as is if, you were applying for a job or something like that, it'll show you were charged and it was set aside. It wouldn't show as a conviction. But if you get in trouble again and you were in court, those felonies will be eligible as historical priors depending on how old they are and how many different priors you have.
Okay.
You probably, anytime that you dip into the legal world, you probably want to have an attorney to help you do that because it increases your chances of being successful.
What about the people who think, oh no, I'm just going to go on LegalZoom and I'll take care of it?
Well, I hope they don't have LegalZoom for criminal cases because that would be really bad. But there's people, I don't know if you've ever heard the quote from Abraham Lincoln, but the person who has himself for an attorney has a fool for a client.
Yes, I have heard that.
I'll just leave it at that.
There you go. And then Matt is asking, if a cop asks to search your car, is it bad if you say no with reason?
You don't have to give them any reason. You can say no.
Leave it. No is a complete sentence, Matt.
But if they have reasonable suspicion that, because a traffic stop is a little less onerous of a search than your home, obviously. If they have reasonable suspicion that you've committed some sort of crime and that there's something in there that's dangerous, essentially, then they'll probably be able to do it.
Do it without your
if they're
permission.
stopping you saying you were speeding and they don't have any information, then they have no right. Now, usually they try to hold you there so that they can try to get an alert on like a drug case or something like that.
Okay.
Or sometimes there's informants and they already know things, but they have to be able to show that was like reliable information. So just say no. just if they,
no.
You have the right to make them get a warrant, and if you just exercise it.
Yeah, there you go. Matt, hopefully your question is answered. So, and I know you do criminal defense, so this is not necessarily your wheelhouse. However, I wanted to know if you could find some type of criminal possibilities behind it. So vaccinations is a big thing right now in the news. Parents not wanting to vaccinate, parents that do vaccinate want those parents to make sure they're vaccinated because they don't want, their kids to be affected by it. And so I know Several states have different bills that are requiring it. Obviously, they do have, or I shouldn't say obvious because it may not necessarily be obvious to everybody, but some of those states have like a religious exemption. But I know Arizona in particular has a bill currently that is going to be discussed or going to be put up for a vote that gives parents the right to make that decision for themselves, like a parental decision type of a thing. Do you see any criminal liability that could result from somebody not vaccinating their children?
So number one, I don't know why you wouldn't vaccinate your kid. The idea of like the whole thing about autism and all that. The guy who wrote the report essentially admitted that that was fraud. But I guess
I didn't read about that. So he admitted that he wrote a fraudulent article. Why did he do that?
I don't know why he did it, but he's admitted to it. So
Okay.
to rely on that report is kind of silly. But I haven't seen any cases where anyone was actually charged for not having their child actually vaccinated. But I've seen other cases, like child abuse cases, where they didn't get medical treatment for their children and their children's condition worsened or the children unfortunately, passed away.
Okay.
And I would say, I would look at a vaccination just like any other medical treatment. If there's recommended stuff that your kid's doctor, your pediatrician is going to say that your child should be doing as they develop, and you don't do that, and then something happens, and then they either get hurt or they die, and you get charged with the crime for that. I don't see why not being vaccinated, which most pediatricians are going to be recommending, if not all. I don't see how that falls outside of that same sort of idea.
Got it. Now, and I don't know the answer to this because I don't have any children and I've never had to get them vaccinated, but at what point do children get vaccinated for like measles? Because there's been like 65 measles outbreaks.
I don't remember. He had our kid. I have a kid who's gonna be turning 3. You know that, obviously.
I know.
But he was getting shots like every couple of months until he was 2 years old.
Okay.
I just don't remember which shot and which sequence, but essentially every few months he went to the doctor and he had another immunization when he went. And at 2, he finally got his last one. And I think he might need to do a booster at some point, but right now he's done for a while.
So the reason I asked that question is because let's say, and maybe I'm reaching, I don't know, but sometimes I reach. So what about, let's say your kid is a 4-month-old baby that's in daycare. And there's another kid in the daycare that all of a sudden has a measles outbreak and he causes death or near death of the infant because let's say the infant now gets measles because it was spread from this kid who wasn't vaccinated. Could you see a potential case against that parent that did not vaccinate that 4-year-old or
that would be interesting. I guess you can argue that they may have been reckless and endangered others by not vaccinating their child, but I think that's going to be hard to prove up because how do you know what percentage chance is the kid going to get measles and then spread it and it's going to be undiagnosed? I think that would be a pretty hard one for the state to prosecute.
So that's extra stretch.
Yeah, but then there's a case, I forget which state it was in, where the girl got convicted where the kid committed suicide. So
oh, that's right, like where she sent him a text and told him to kill himself.
Yeah, so it's possible, obviously.
That actually brings it up. So I sent you that thing on Momo. Is it Momo?
Oh, the crazy doll thing?
The crazy doll thing on YouTube that's telling kids to kill themselves and just like really weird messages. But I heard that it comes up when kids are playing people are playing Fortnite too.
I guess it depends what you play it on, because I would doubt that it can pop up on like PlayStation or Xbox, because those are just more like secure than like a PC.
Okay.
And since there's less of a population on there, I would doubt that there's hackers or whoever who are making software just for that stuff.
Okay.
But I guess the videos pop up, and it's telling kids to hurt themselves essentially, right?
Yeah.
And
is that criminal?
I would say so. Yeah.
I would think it is too.
But then how do you don't know who uploaded it though, right?
I know.
Because people are smart enough to use fake IP addresses and fake names and fake email addresses. So it's just screwed. It's screwed up. It's really screwed up. But
It's just nuts.
People are just out of their minds.
Yes, they are. And then they need to get the attorneys to defend them too. But the people, speaking of that though, and some people have a couple of questions, and I'll get to them in just a second, Mallory. But a lot of times people think criminal defense, they think about very worst case scenario where they would need an attorney. Like, I don't know, when you think of criminal defense, you're thinking like, I don't know, the worst thing you could do, rob a bank, kill somebody, something like that. However, in an everyday type of situation, there's everyday situations where people really will get into situations where they need to hire a criminal defense attorney. Can you think of any situations that could be an everyday thing that people don't necessarily think of where they will need criminal defense help?
Obviously, the DUI thing for folks with medical marijuana. DUIs for folks with just prescriptions.
Oh, that's right.
I had a client he was a military veteran. He served in Desert Storm, and unfortunately he got severely injured in service. So he had been on pain medications, quite a few pain medications for upwards of 20 years.
Wow.
And as you know, with those opiates, the more you take it, the more tolerance you get.
Yeah.
So his dosage goes up and up and up and up. He ends up getting into a car accident. His blood is taken because they always take it after a car accident. And he has crazy high levels of opiates in his system. So his license gets suspended.
Okay.
He has to go to the VA, everything else. So people need to survive. So people still drive. It happens.
Yeah.
And so he got in a couple more accidents because he had some physical limitations that I think were really the cause of it. But and his blood was taken, and he was looking at upwards of like 7.5 years in prison. This is a military vet. And he didn't get that because obviously, he had a pretty good lawyer on his case. And there were some issues, obviously, because, again, like I said, these are all prescription medications. And when you take them for that long, the dosages reach really high levels. So you can't look at one person's blood and say, well, anybody else is going to be stoned out of their mind when this guy's been doing it for 25 years just to function every day.
Wow.
So...
Wow, see? So there's that, because a lot of people are on prescription medications for various different things.
Arguments. I get a lot of those DV cases where it's just arguments and someone calls the cops.
Domestic violence, right?
Domestic violence, where either one of the partners will call the cops or maybe a neighbor just hears screaming and it was nothing violent. It was, people argue. And someone gets arrested, someone gets charged with at least a disorderly conduct, and now you're in the system. Now you need an attorney. So
you can be arrested for loud arguing?
You shouldn't, but it happens.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And charged with an offense.
I had a client charged with assault where he was the only one that was actually hit.
What? How does that happen?
Well, I have my theories, but I won't put it on the camera. But so it was him and a group of friends and a pretty little girl that was with him. He was arguing with the pretty little girl.
Okay.
She punched him in the face in the car, threw pizza in his face, and then when the police were called, because all this stuff happened like in public, all the friends were like, it's her.
Yeah.
And he's like, it was her. I never touched her. And, thank God they have body cameras to preserve that stuff now. But she's being hysterical, crying, and saying like he was grabbing me and all this other stuff that nobody else said. And my client, who's a guy, a dark-skinned guy, gets arrested and charged. And it wasn't until he hired me, because the state wasn't giving them a plea offer.
Okay.
They actually... because they have what's called a misdemeanor compromise where you can settle it and get it dismissed.
Okay.
And this crazy girl asked for $50,000, and the state had the nerve to actually present that to him. So I get on the case, and I find on this girl's, like, her Snapchat or something like that, she's posting videos about how she should have killed this dude that night. And then there's videos from the night where she's like, I'm just looking to fight and all this other stuff. And so when that's submitted to the state by me, before we're going to go to trial, I'm like, this is what I'm presenting, man. I don't know why you even charge this guy. They agreed to dismiss it, but that goes back to, should you hire an attorney?
Absolutely.
Because he wasn't facing any jail time, but this person was a professional, so an assault conviction is something that would really hurt him as a professional. he was doing it on his own because he wasn't entitled to an attorney because there was no jail time being sought.
Got it.
So if he didn't hire me, because he still has the right to have a lawyer, if he didn't hire me, this would have all went under the rug and no one would have known that someone got convicted on such a one-sided case.
Oh, so I never knew that. So if there's no jail time that you're facing, you're not entitled to a public defender.
Yeah, for those misdemeanors.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Arizona's an interesting place.
Yeah. In some states it's worse, though. They have DUIs where you're not entitled to a jury in other states. So
the judge makes the judge is the jury, pretty much.
Correct.
Oh, lovely. What state is that? What states are?
There's a few of them, so I can't name them all.
All right. Just in case I'm going through there. Not that I plan on having any crime, but you never know. Mm-hmm. I could be the one that gets assaulted and get charged. Mm-hmm. So so somebody's asking. Mallory said, "What is the definition of probable cause?"
There's no black letter law as far as what probable cause is. So essentially some sort of particularized suspicion that someone has committed an act that violates the law. Okay.
So their version of probable cause for that moment. The officer's interpretation of probable cause at that time.
Well, it should. The court is going to look at it in a sort of uniform way, but if the officer has discretion. Okay. So if the officer says, she said he hit him, and I believed her.
Got it. Okay.
Boom.
Got it. And then it says, what is the boundary line of reasonable suspicion? Is there one?
That's one of the lowest levels of standards of proof there is. So it's pretty simple to get reasonable suspicion on something. So say you pull a car over, you walk next to it, and they smell marijuana. Reasonable suspicion that someone is using marijuana or possesses it.
Okay. So, whether it's in your car or from 4 houses away because you're
nearby.
They'll say
it's coming from the car.
Got it. Just in case, because they're trying to be cautious or whatever. Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. All right. Well, before we wrap up, I just wanted to point out a couple of things that I didn't know about. I don't know if you know about them, but I read, and I know this one there's 3 things that I noticed that went into effect in 2019. One that is going to affect literally everybody. So there is a $32 vehicle registration fee that's added to every person's registration for 2009 or 2019 when you renew. I didn't know that either, but I just renewed in January, and I was like, why does this seem higher? But I didn't think anything of it. I was like, I just got to pay it, so let me just shut up and pay it.
I should have done the 5-year renewal last year.
Right, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, maybe I should do 2-year, 5-year, whatever the renewal period is. So that went into effect into 2019. So if you notice that your registration has increased by $32, that's why. And so if you have multiple cars, it's $32 for each car. I know. So the reason for that increase is to go towards the state education budget. They're citing that to give teachers raises.
Those, right?
General fund?
Because there's other money that they can change as far as what goes to the school. So, we got an extra $100,000. Let's take $100,000. So it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, they put that into the general fund.
Yeah, so
whatever. And then they waste it.
Yeah, it's a complete waste.
I know. Then I read people people are working on taxes right now. So if you happen to be a viewer and you pay alimony, apparently alimony paid can no longer be deducted, and alimony received is no longer tax deductible. So if you're rolling in that alimony dough, you don't have to tax. It's not taxable anymore. But if you're paying out that alimony dough, then you're mad right now, or you will be when you do your taxes. And that is new. That's new as of this year.
So that probably won't kick in until after this year then, the way it should work. So the 2018 should be safe.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Well, I need to double check that, because there were some laws that were enacted that were effective for 2018's tax period, but nobody really knew that until they started filing taxes.
They're going to have some issues with that.
There were a couple of others, though. But, I would agree with you. It seems like to
because people were taking that money back in 2018 with knowing what the law was.
Correct.
So that would be a mess if they tried to take.
Never know. Just like you said, the law is a mess in general.
Oh, yeah, it is. People don't know that.
And it's their money.
The criminal justice system, it's not a real system. It's a dam that you keep poking holes in. That's all it is.
That's crazy. Then apparently I haven't been on any hospital websites to verify this, and I didn't even check to see what the timeline is, but it says hospitals are now required to post prices online for procedures and services they offer. So I didn't have a chance to go and look to see when that goes into effect, but that's pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to, if you have an emergency, I don't think you're going to be like, well, hang on, let me go to their website and see if it's $10,000 or $20,000.
And then what is it going to be, the pay out of pocket cost? Because they negotiate different prices with like every single insurance provider. So, yeah.
They do. Because it starts off super high, and then by the time they negotiated with the insurance, it's like nothing.
Low, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when I had a surgery, the bill was like $150,000. Because you know how you get your itemization from the insurance company, and then next thing you know, I don't know how I saw the bill, but then next thing you know, it was like $12,000.
It's still crazy how
it was still crazy, but I did have a major surgery.
Well, yeah, $150,000 is a lot more unreasonable.
It's ridiculous, but they were charging, like, I think even just the pain medication was like $350 a pill. It's like, what? But I was in pain, so I didn't care how much it cost at that moment. Any laws that you can think of that have recently gone into effect that people are being affected by?
There's another DUI law, but I hope most people aren't affected by it, where they added to the felony DUI that if you're going the wrong way on the road while impaired, and I think that'll come up more likely in downtown areas with a lot of one-way streets.
Yep.
And if you're not familiar with driving downtown, Washington and Jefferson don't go the same direction. So
no, they don't. I have definitely went the wrong way down a one-way street many times, quite sober. One time I did it at like 6 a.m. I was going to errands when he lived downtown, and I turned. I don't even know what street I got off on.
Jefferson, he used to be off of, right?
Yeah, I don't remember, but I don't remember which street I turned on. I know I went the wrong way, and I was like, shoot, I went the wrong way. I didn't even know I was going the wrong way down the one way, and then I was like, oh, crap, I'm going the wrong way. And I was like, oh, my gosh. So it was like, thank goodness there were no cars coming, because I would have been dead.
And it makes sense for a cop to think, like, this person's drunk. Like, right?
It would definitely make sense if they thought I was drunk. But it was just a strange, like, it was just, downtown Phoenix is weird sometimes. So anyway, all right, so I am quite the bad driver, so just if I'm on the road, it's not a safe place. Just kidding, I'm a good driver.
That's why I like driving.
I'm actually a good driver. People tend to hit me though.
Yeah.
I typically get hit.
Oh yeah, you got hit by like a city bus, right?
Was it a city bus? I think it was an airport shuttle bus.
Oh, okay, that's not as bad then, right?
Whoa.
Was it like a full-size bus?
Yes.
Or just, okay.
It wasn't like a rental car shuttle.
Like the ones that take you back to
the... It was the employee. It took the employees to and from the parking lot to the actual airport.
I know what you're talking
so
about,
it was definitely a full-size bus. It looks just like the Valley Metro.
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't have that same logo, but it's that size.
Buses drive crazy. They don't care.
He was driving so fast, and then not only did he hit me, my car spun around, jumped a curb. This has come up like the last 3 podcasts.
Oh, for
real? My car spun around, jumped the curb, and then I hit a light pole head on. Obviously, that car was totaled. But what was crazy is when I got out of the car, it was like a gas line right there. Yeah, I was like, oh. But thank goodness for the pole, because had that pole not been there, I would have went back into oncoming traffic, which was coming the opposite direction. And it was busy right there by the airport, so I would have definitely not made it out.
Yeah.
And then there was that gas line there. I was like, whatever. But I walked away from the accident. I didn't have to get, there was no ambulance or anything like that. I just remember the next day waking up in, I don't know, it was a lot of pain.
Wow,
and
get hit by a bus, man.
Yes. And it was like literally I was fighting with the officer at the scene because him and the bus driver were friends. Not literally fighting, but I was, there was a little bit of, I was not happy because he was trying to cite me for the accident, and I was not at fault. I was turning, the bus was in the turning lane, and he kept going. And so he was supposed to be turning right, but he kept going straight. But the police officer and the bus driver were buddy. And I was like, no. So they so happened to lose my citing. So it was like a lot of, after I raised that and then we called for a supervisor, then all of a sudden they lost the record of the accident.
Because I would have got the camera from that bus that same day.
Had you been an attorney at that time, this was in 2007, 7.
And the whole conspiracy thing, oh man, that would have been fun in front of a jury.
Yeah. So it was definitely not a good experience that I went through. But I'm still here, and that's all that matters. Yeah. So anyway, so we're going to wrap it up here. You guys, thank you for tuning in to NextView Podcast. If you or your family members or friends are in need of criminal defense attorney, if you somehow find yourself, you took one sip of alcohol and you didn't think it was bad, you thought you could drive, and somehow you ended up with a DUI, or you took medical marijuana and you still drove and now they're charging you, you need to call the Molina Law Group, and tell them again how they can find you.
You can go to the website, www.molinalawgroup.com, or you can just give us a call, 602-718-1249, 24/7. Someone can take your call.
You guys, I know him, and I can tell you he does not quit. He does not stop on an argument, even if we're arguing about Mortal Kombat, as you can see. And we played Mortal Kombat when we were like 12 and 11, because we're 1 year apart, I think. 1.5. 2. Okay, so 12 and 10 maybe. Anyway, give him a call. He'll definitely take care of you, and he'll definitely have your back. If you're in need of real estate services and you're looking for a great team of professionals, contact the NextView Home Professional team at Keller Williams Integrity First. I work with the most awesome team in the world. We have agents that speak both English and Spanish, so we can help everybody. If it's your first home or if it's your 5th home, we're happy to help you. Or even if you just have general questions, give us a call. We can be reached at 480-281-3078. You can also reach us here on Facebook, send us a message, or you can visit our website at www.nextviewre.com. So nextviewrealestate.com. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to our page so that you can catch additional podcasts in the upcoming weeks. Thanks so much. Have a great day, guys.